The Browns and Amari Cooper came to an agreement on a new contract for the final year of his pre-existing 5-year deal. And we're going to break it all down on today's video. But initial reaction right off the bat is this is your win-win scenario. The Browns kind of get what they were gunning for the whole time. Amari Cooper may not get ultimately what he was searching for, but he definitely comes out a little bit richer than he was just 24 hours ago. Now, before we get any further in today's video and breaking down this contract restructure, not extension, this is why you subscribe to the channel, though. When breaking news like this happens, we're live on the channel. We're getting a video or getting a short out to you. I'm tweeting about it. We're going to do our absolute best to make sure you guys are in the know for all things Cleveland Browns. So go ahead, do me a favor, and hit that subscribe button down below. Help us reach our goal of 35,000 subscribers strong here at the Cleveland Browns Report. Now, Jordan Schultz was the first one I saw to report the news that the Browns and star wide receiver Amari Cooper have agreed to a restructured 1-year contract, guaranteeing his $20 million and adding an additional $5 million per multiple sources. When I saw this, the first thing that popped in my head was, this is a win for the team, maybe a little bit more so than the Browns. I was never nervous about this potential standoff because it always felt like both sides were motivated to come to an agreement, but the Browns were more hesitant and reluctant to add more years onto a contract for Amari Cooper, which, by the way, he still has 1 year left on his deal and he will still be a free agent unless an extension happens later on at the end of this season next spring. So, for the Browns, they avoid, which I think they were trying to avoid all along, which was adding more years onto a 30-year-old wide receiver's contract. And for Amari Cooper, he comes out a winner because he got $5 extra million tossed his way. Now, they are incentives from what I read. I'm not quite sure what the incentive benchmarks are that he has to reach, but we'll look at Amari Cooper's stats in a little bit, and you'll see if he plays like he's been playing the last 2 years in Cleveland, he should have no problem clearing those benchmarks and getting an additional $5 million, which when you look at the top 10 highest paid wide receivers, I doubt he creeps into this list, although you see DK Metcalf is sitting at $24 million. Devontae Smith is sitting at $25 million. These are an average salary, by the way, so if you make $100 million over 5 years like Amari Cooper, you finish 20th. So for Cooper, if he picks up an extra $5 million, he'll creep up into the top 10 for total cash in this upcoming season by my estimations. But for the Browns, they avoid what they really wanted to avoid the whole time, which was adding more years onto his deal. And for Cooper, he can pick up an extra $5 million. All $20 million for this season is guaranteed. And he comes out smiling, I'm sure, as well, because he's a lot richer than he was just a few hours ago. Now, I don't think this shuts the door, though, on an Amari Cooper extension at some point. If October rolls around and Amari Cooper is on path for 1,200 yard season and maybe 10 touchdowns, or maybe not even 10, but somewhere between 5 and 10, I'm sure the Browns are going to be open to re-engage in conversations. Now, maybe Amari Cooper's side will go, listen, the time for contract extensions were in the summer. Like Mike Evans said last year, once the season starts, we're not going into conversations about extensions. And ultimately, that probably made Mike Evans some more money in free agency. So that could be something that comes back to bite the Browns in the butt. If the season wraps up and they weren't able to get an extension done mid-season and Cooper balls out this year, they could end up paying more in the spring than maybe what was on the table in August, or if they could have made an offer in October. So if we're looking at it from all angles, that's something to factor in as well. If you really want to get into the nitty-gritty, if Amari Cooper hits all of his extensions, those incentives do add on to a player's cap hit, so that could take away from some of the rollover cap for next year or potential spending for this season. But we're looking at like a few $1 million, a very, very, very small percentage. So I don't really factor that into the pros and cons sheet much at all. The only thing that the Browns could look back on and regret about this is, man, we had an opportunity to extend him over the summer. We didn't. We want to extend him now in 2025, and it's going to cost us a few extra $1 million than had we done it before. But for the Browns, I'm sure they'd like to maybe make that wager on themselves, and if Amari Cooper balls out, okay, they're out a few extra $1 million. If he doesn't, they probably are relieved that they did not extend a 30-year-old wide receiver. And I don't think Amari Cooper's about to fall off a cliff, but this is the NFL. This stuff does happen. I'd be naive if I said it didn't have at least a small chance of happening this year. Now, before we get further into today's video, give me 60 seconds to tell everyone about our wonderful sponsor today, which is Game Time. If you love baseball and want to catch a Guardians game or any other major league team, you're going to want to give Game Time a shot. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. One thing I really like about Game Time is their flash deals. Save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or event. Plus, they offer the Game Time guarantee. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So now we can kind of get set for the upcoming season, because I'm glad the Browns were able to get this agreement done before training camp really started to get underway, because the last thing the Browns needed was one more, I wouldn't say distraction, but like one more thing on, we need to cross this off list. Right now they need to cross off like getting Nick Chubb back, getting Deshaun Watson back, getting the offense accustomed to a new offensive coordinator in Ken Dorsey, and potential new play caller. The last thing that needed to get added to that, growing list was get an Amari Cooper extension done or get an Amari Cooper restructure done, make sure everyone is happy. Now, Amari Cooper is someone that, like I said, I would have been fine with extending in the first place, adding a year on to his deal. But this also works. I think this satisfies both parties. Amari Cooper, the last 2 years in Cleveland, has been the best wide receiver in Browns history over a 2-year stretch pretty much. First guy to go over 1,000 yards in back-to-back seasons, 14 touchdowns. I mean, we can take it one step further. We'll look at Amari Cooper's stats from his first 2 years in Cleveland compared to his last 2 years in Dallas. I mean, you could argue from like a physical makeup standpoint that Amari Cooper's athletic prime would have been around 2020 to 2021-ish, right when he's 26, 27, 28 years old as a wide receiver. However, he's played better as a 28, 29-year-old wide receiver the last 2 seasons in Cleveland. So, for the Browns, I'm sure they're relieved that they don't have to deal with any kind of distractions. Andrew Berry always sounded motivated to get something done. At the NFL owners meeting a few months ago, he talked about Amari Cooper, which for Andrew Berry, that's a lot because he doesn't like talking about players and their contracts. And while he didn't get too deep in the conversations, he said something to the tune of like, Coop's a great guy that we want. We want those types of players in our locker room, so we're going to work through that at the appropriate times. Every time Andrew Berry spoke about Amari Cooper to the media, he never even gave like loose signs or signals as to maybe this won't get done. So this never crept up very high, no more than like a 3 out of 10 on my stress or panic meter. The only thing I was worried about was if this bleeds into training camp a little bit, I hope it doesn't, push off a little bit of the continued growing chemistry between Watson and Cooper, because while they've been together for a little bit of time now, they haven't been on the field together, all that much. Deshaun Watson's played 12 games in a Cleveland Browns uniform, so, the overlap hasn't been insane, but with the new offensive coordinator, it's great to have quarterback, wide receiver together right from the start. So I want to show Coop some love. I've got my jersey on for him today. Spam 2 for me down in the comment section below to congratulate him. And who knows, maybe whoever spams 2 the most, Amari Cooper will come across this video, see that, and treat you to a nice steak dinner in Cleveland. I can't guarantee it, but you can't rule it out, so it's got at least some % chance of happening. Now the rest of the wide receiver room gets ready for a big season. Juedy coming over from Denver. Elijah Moore last offseason coming over from the Jets. The Browns in the draft last year added Cedric Tillman. 2 years before that, David Bell. And then Jamari Thrash, the rookie out of Louisville, joining the team. So overall, this Browns wide receiver room, I think, is a little bit slept on because no one really ever wants to acknowledge Amari Cooper being one of those top 10 caliber receivers. But when you put his numbers up against pretty much everyone else outside of like the insanos of Justin Jeffersons in the world, like Amari Cooper goes toe-to-toe with a lot of really good receivers. So for the Browns to have Cooper done, and they've got Juedy in a good spot with his contract, I'm really excited for this wide receiver room. I think it's going to be one of the better units in the NFL this year. All right, before we wrap up today's show, we're going to pick a card. So we'll bring on Trizzy Trace. Trace, which card do you want to go with, friend?
I mean, we're celebrating Amari
It's got
Cooper.
to be two.
I'm going two of hearts.
I'll go two of diamonds.
Perfect.
He's gonna buy some.
We're getting
bling.
steak dinners, baby.
Yep. Okay. If this actually hits,
Dude, this has got to be the week it's a 2.
two's not uncommon.
It isn't.
I'm giving a lot of shuffles too. That way, I feel like the more shuffles, the better the chance.
No doubt, without a doubt.
I don't really know why that's a science, but I would like a lot of shuffles if I'm picking one card.
100%.
All right, one more cut. We ready?
Come on, Coop. 2 for Coop.
Fuck us. 10 of hearts.
That's disgraceful.
What's the next one though?
What's the next one?
3 of diamonds.
One more?
Queen. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Then 9. Okay. 2 of diamonds.
2 of diamonds. Let's go!
That's 5 off.
Amari Cooper.
That's got to count. Well, it doesn't have to count actually, but a participation trophy nevertheless. All right. That's the Amari Cooper news. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Thank you guys for making us a part of your day and including us in your Browns news and rumors roundup. One last time, Cooper, a $5 million incentive tacked on to his pre-existing $20 million salary for this season, which he can earn in incentives, but all $20 million fully guaranteed. So a win for both ends. Now let's get into some padded practices.